I'm Dan Galusha, and welcome to another edition of Shootin' Plink. Today we've got the Crosman DPMS back with us, and of course it's made by Panther Arms, and we're going to be talking not about the shooting part. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to load the magazine, and also a little bit about the maintenance on this gun and how you take it apart. One of the things too that I recommend, here it is right here, that's what we're going to be talking about. Like I said, the loading of it and that. We're going to put this down here right now, because what I'm going to suggest to you too is to get a case similar to this. You're not going to break the bank. In fact, I got this one on Amazon for a little over $12, and it fits the gun real well. It's all padded inside, and it's got all your different spots here that you can put your magazines in. In fact, we're going to be talking about that. Here's the magazine right here. And I can also put C02 in here. I can put my BBs, because this is a BB gun, as you know. And anyway, I'm going to set that down because I want to show you how you disassemble this thing in order to load it. In fact, we're going to load it all up. We're going to load it with C02, and we're going to load it with the BBs. And we have there's two different ways to do that on the loading. You use this little gadget that comes with the gun, by the way, or you can do it manually, and I'll show you both. I'm going to set this down, and then I'm going to bring you down here to look at this stuff. Okay, here's the magazine. Get the CO2 out of the way, and the BBs, because we really don't need those up here. Put them right back there. And don't need this either. So now what we need is the magazine right here. And inside of this there's a wrench in order to tighten up the CO2. Now here's a little slot right here, and you might use this for more than one thing, and I'll tell you that in a minute. First off, you got to get a hold of this, and you have to pop this off. Now this isn't always that easy, I'll guarantee you that. It is a bit of a trick to get this off sometimes, which you can see what it's doing right now. There we go, it's coming off. Okay, here it is. It's got a couple of things right here, a couple of tabs. Show you those up right here. And that's fit right into there in order to shut this up. Here's your tool. Here's the wrench I was telling you about. And you always want to make sure that you get that snapped back into place. There, you can see it there. Why? Because it'll rattle all over the place. But it's a good spot to keep it. And there's not much to snap in it, as you can see. These right here are your adjustments. That's where your CO2 is going to go into. Now what you got to do, and here's something I like, is the fact that the wrench does not run all the way through it. Some of them do for no reason, others do for a reason because of the design. There it is right there. Now that's ready for your CO2, and they both go in this way. And I'm going to grab a couple of cartridges. Should have done that while I had the box up here, shouldn't I? And this is Crosman cartridges. And by the way, there is an oil that you can put on the front of these, and you should always do that, but no how right now. You put a drop of oil right on the front of these, and then that's before you put them in like this, and you can see they go right in, just like that. That's all you do. Now you have to tighten these down. So first off, I'll snug it up this way with the long end, just like that. Now, like I said, I did it with the long end in here, the short end here. Now what I want to do is to tighten it, and how I'll tighten that is to use the short end inward. You could do it either way, but when you do this, now you'll hear a sis, hopefully. It didn't, but it should be in there. And this one too. Why would I want the long out here? Is because it makes it easier to tighten it down good. Now they're both tight. So now the next step is putting this wrench back in. Slide that in. There, get it. You gotta get it snapped in there good. See how loose that is? If it isn't, it's gonna come out. It's gonna be rattling all around. So you have to get this snapped in just right, and yeah, so that it won't do that. Now the next trick is getting this back on. Why do I say it's a trick? Well, see that tab, or no tab, it's a little clip right inside. It don't always go in there too good, and especially on this side that goes over here, there's a spot right in here that has to fit into, and that's what we got to get this in. First you have to put it up here just like this, get that in there. Next trick is getting it into place here, and there, this time it snapped down good. This was my good one. I've got 2 magazines. One of them has been a real pain in the hind end, and this one has done pretty good. Next step, let's load her with BBs. Now the BBs go up here. By the way, this has got a lot of weight, just like it was the real thing. There is a follower on this, and I've heard people say the thing's doesn't work. It needs a catch. It does have a catch, and I'll show you. It's right down here. And if you're going to do this manually, you take this down. Now this is where it helps to have the longer fingernails like I got. You grab this, you bring it all the way down to that one spot, not to here. Now, in fact, I'm going to release that. This right here, this little port, you can see it, that's where your BBs go. And that's where it comes in handy. Now you can do this with your finger like this, but man, I'll tell you, it's tough, as you can see. That's why I say even a toothpick will work for this. You bring it all the way down and you snap it over like that. There's a little indentation. You can see where I took it. That little indentation right over here is what locks that in place. Now, I could take BBs such as this with the little funnel thing, and you pop that off and you got that little funnel hole. You can pour those into that port, but you got to be real careful or you're going to have BBs all over the place. And you always want them to run down because they have to go over here. So what's another way to do it? Well, like I said, and by the way, these are Black Widow BBs. They're put out by Crosman. I've been using them a little bit with this gun, and we'll talk about that later. Now, here's the loading device. This is full of these Black Widows. What you do is you see this little catch right here, right up in here. Okay, that's what catches this follower up here. And I'll release the follower. There, it's now back up to the top. And you take this and you bring this catch down here on this end. I think I showed you this end, but you bring it down here. And you get it, bring it down like this, bring it all the way down to that spot, and then put it in place. And you notice this tab, there's a reason for that. Put it right like that. Now, what we're going to do is this plunger spits the BBs out. And there's a catch thing there that will hold that. And if you bump it while you're doing this, you got a problem. Now what I did, unfortunately, a BB got caught there. So you can see this is kind of a pain in a way, but it does work. And you got to see if you get all your BBs. Once you get to a point, the BBs won't go in anymore. There, right there. That's it. That's the last BB that went in. And in fact, we probably need to shake them down a little bit. There was one BB. There was a little one too many, and that can happen with this thing. So, like I said, there's kind of pros and cons about loading it either way with the BBs, but it was much faster this way, I guess you would say. And that's ready to shoot. So what I'm going to show you next is the maintenance of the gun, how you get that apart. And we'll put this stuff aside because we'll shoot this later. And it's a little cool out here, so you know what happens to CO2. And with that, I'm going to take that back in before we ever shoot it, but we're not going to shoot it yet. And I have been shooting, and I'll tell you when I get this apart what's been going on. Here's the gun. How on earth are we going to get this apart? Well, it's just like the real thing. And as I told you in the first review, this thing is unbelievable at how real it is. And you have a pin, just like you would in a regular gun like this. It's right here. Right up there, and you put it over here, you push this out so that you can get it, and you really have to, in fact, sometimes you might want to use like a little wooden stick or something, and then you get a hold of this pin, and you don't want to take it all the way out. Now this thing's pretty tight. In fact, I haven't got it out far enough to grab, and that's what you got to do. You got to get it out far enough to grab it. My dust cover came open, and we're going to have to get a tool. And that's one thing I kind of hate, and you want to be careful, especially using a metal one like this, but my Leatherman tool's got some. I've got a regular range tool that would actually work a lot better. Now I pulled it out. Okay. Now you can see that pin sticking out a lot better. And what you want to do, don't open it like this. Take it and lay it on its back, just like this. Why? I'm going to show you in just a second. We pull that there, and we're going to pick this up once we get it out. Okay, here we go. Now, if I had opened that up the other direction, all of this in the bolt assembly would have fallen out, because this slides out real easy, as you can see. That's so that you can lubricate all this up. Now what I've been doing is working on something else, something they really don't tell you about. Now about every 3,000 rounds you should take these and pull these bolts back and lubricate just 1 drop of oil. That's all it takes, and you use regular recoil oil, and you put a drop of that in on the sealant, on the seal that's in there. You do the same thing with that magazine. There's a seal on that, which I didn't show you. Right up there you can see that seal up at the top, and you put a little drop of oil on that too. It's only 1 drop. Now here, and I don't have it with me, but there's a product called Gun Protect, and unfortunately they don't have it anymore. But right up here, this is, you have your safety, which it's on safety right now. You have the right here, this is a semi-auto, and this is full auto. Well, right in here, that's where that's controlled. The problem has been is when that's been on semi-auto, it has stuck just to fire bursts. So I've had a bit of a problem, and I took this Gun Protect and I sprayed it into there, and we'll see right now, because you can test it. Now it's safe. You can see you cannot pull the trigger. We'll put it on semi-auto, and this right here, see how it comes back up? That should always snap back up, and that has not been doing that, thus firing bursts rather than the regular thing. Now when you put it on full auto, now watch this thing right here. See that stay down? Okay, that's what creates that to go into full auto. Again, we go back to semi, turn it the right way, and you'll see this tab momentarily go down. That's the way it should, but it hasn't been doing that, so I have been actually, I had to put there's another little gadget down in here that you can't see, and that's what releases that, or it goes up underneath the tab and holds it down, and hasn't been doing it right. And I've just fired it. First time yesterday I fired this, and it worked real good at first, and then it went haywire, and that's what I did. That's why I want to show you how you can take this and very easily disassemble this. Now, reassembly, just as easy. You just bring it down, just like that, and this pin, you snap it into place. I just pushed in on that pin, and she's ready to go. Now we can put the magazine in, and in another video, we'll start shooting it. Well, hopefully I've been able to help you out as far as loading that magazine goes. And there's the magazine right there. She's ready to shoot. Now what I'm going to do is, because it's cool out here, I'm not sure it's 50 yet. It may be in the 50s, so you know what that's going to do to CO2. And I'm going to take this magazine in first, You heat it up, and then we're going to come back in another video, and we're going to be shooting this thing and seeing just how it does. It has, so far, the accuracy has been pretty good. We have had problems with one of the BBs I tried out, but we're going to be going back to the Black Widows. And again, I told you about those. They have worked pretty doggone good in this gun, so I've got a feeling that the Black Diamonds will do just about as good, because to me, I can't tell the difference between those two. Just different companies, that's all. Black Widow is a Crosman product. The Black Diamond is a Hornady, and a Hornady is going to be good because their ammunition is good, and just about anything Hornady touches is good. But anyway, we're not getting into that right now because we're going to be shooting with this later. I wanted to show you how you take this apart, and also how you load a magazine. So until next time, shoot safe and have a great day of plinking.